Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Fargo Season 3, Episode 5. It's called The House of Special Purpose. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. I think this episode did something kind it made a good stride for the season, I thought, because I felt like this is the first episode where I truly felt that tension that I kind of associated with Season 2 of Fargo.
Yeah, and obviously this is about halfway now, and it was now I go, oh, okay, this is how everything comes together. Like you can finally see it.
Yeah, you can kind of see the dots connecting. And we kind of said that last week, obviously, with Gloria, but in this case, it was, how the brother plots are going to kind of link up and how
Yeah,
that's
and
going
where
to kind
where
of thing.
VM comes into play, it's all starting to make sense.
Yeah. Of course, we opened with with a, I'm going to call it a delightfully funny short film about so Emmett's wife comes home, finds an envelope saying, for Emmett, his eyes only, and nice subtle camera work here. Actually, she's like unpacking her shopping, and like the envelope's just sitting on the counter the entire time, but the camera's focused on that. But you can just see her in the background, out of focus, just every so often, just looking
Just a
over at
little,
it,
little glance here.
just a little bit tempted. And she's like, I'm going to look at this. Do you know what the funny thing was? Is it, maybe it's that I know this show too well. Maybe it's because they've set up the characters so well. But as soon as I saw the ransom note, I knew what the tape was. Like
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what it was.
yeah,
I
definitely.
knew he was wearing that damn wig, and it was all a ruse.
Yeah, it was great how it was established last week.
The wig? Yeah,
Yeah,
last week. Yeah,
yeah,
because it was done the bank heist. Well, I say
yeah,
heist, but heist may be a bit of a strong word for
yeah. It's
it.
it's a very low key heist.
Um, forgery, maybe the more correct term.
Fraud.
Fraud, yeah, sure. Aye. Man from
Yeah.
the IRS is in this episode. He can help us out with all these monetary terms. But so so but obviously it cuts to them making the like so wife leaves. Emmett comes home, sees the tape. But during all this, of course, we cut to the making of the tape and the preparation, the putting on the wig, both wigs, because she's wearing a wig as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and the whole thing's very amusing. And he actually proposes, and she is then annoyed that he's proposing while she's got a hooker wig on. And he's like, "Oh, let me go." And she takes the wig off, and they have their little heartfelt moment. It was delightfully quirky in all those ways that Fargo often can be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I feel like you were saying how this episode made it feel like season two. This sort of stuff feels very much what I expect from season one. Like
the
it's
quirky at the start. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, yeah, and kind of this season up till now has kind of been that.
Oh yeah, I would definitely compare this season to season one more than season two up until now. And overall, it still might be, but I just
Yeah.
obviously where the episode goes later on, it felt a bit more like season two.
Mm.
But this whole thing was very amusing, and it basically breaks Emmett. Now it's not. I would argue it's Sai's episode. Sai, I think, gets the lion's share of screen time this week.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But Emmett's broken from this, and it kind of leads to some things later on. But so Sai comes into work, and VM's in his office waiting for him. It seems the papers have been signed. It's sort of kind of just heavily implied through
Yeah,
everything that happens. Because no one ever outright actually says it. Actually
I
thinking about
think
it.
I think they do it a little bit later because Sai says, when Sai goes over to Emmett, he's
Well,
like,
that's,
"You
that's
made
the,
him a partner."
no, he asked, "Did you sign those papers?" Emmett never actually
Uh,
responds. That's why I'm noticing it right now, thinking about it. Is no one ever? I mean, I'm sure he did, but no one ever outright says no. He has a partner now.
yeah, yeah, you're right.
Because then during the scene with the IRS guy, he's like, "Is there any other partners? How many partners have you got?" And he never actually answers.
He doesn't answer. Yeah,
He dodges the question. They keep dodging
no, that's true.
the question. But VM's there, and this starts off very comical.
Yeah.
He pisses in his mug. Says world's best dad. He pisses in it. Two henchmen are kicking around,
Hmm.
and he makes them drink his piss.
Yes.
And you get the sense that this is all from the police visit from the last episode, which obviously was a great scene last time when we saw, they were very perceptive of what was going on in that office. And
Yeah, and Sai was very bad at handling them.
yes, and here this was the repercussion from that. Even though arguably it's not his fault. Well, it is, but it's an unrelated fault. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was him, but it wasn't connected to
yeah,
this,
yeah. Had nothing to do with VM or any of this shenanigans.
which is kind of his defense in this. It's like, well, it wasn't anything to do with this.
They don't care. He's bringing
Yeah.
attention, and that's
Yep.
kind of the thing. And so they make him drink his piss, and the scene is honestly, I will say this: they threw us a bone because as disgusting as the whole scene is with them forcing him to drink this piss, it would have been way worse had they actually coloured the liquid a little bit more yellow. It was very clear,
Yeah.
which to me says VM is drinking his fluids, but
Yeah, yeah. It was so clear that I was debating: did he actually piss in it? Like, was it just a mug of water that he just put his cock in, and then he just made him drink cock water? Like, because it was so clear that I wasn't sure.
that's. It's funny because I was thinking about that actually as he was doing it. I felt like wouldn't his piss be like all around
Audible.
his dick, like you
Yeah,
know, because he's right in there. He's got the mug right up against his crotch.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but no, I'm sure the way he was sort of shaking it off though.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, but
Which one's more disgusting? I guess.
piss.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
that's more disgusting.
it's an easy answer.
That's
Neither are pleasant, though, is the point.
Yeah, that said, you're not going to. If I dip my cock in a glass of water, you're not going to be like, "Oh, give me a give me a gulp."
No, but in this scenario, it's, gun to his head, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I know which one I prefer at that point.
Obviously, the whole thing's about dominance. It's about showing him that he is now basically the little bitch, if you will.
Pretty
And
much.
he has to do what he's told. He's just there to sign papers and wave things through as he's expected to, and that's what he kind of does. And obviously, he is deeply traumatized by the whole affair. He's do you know what I like? He's got this kind of stubborn like. Cy likes to think he's in command of situations, and we see it multiple times in this episode. We've seen it throughout the entire season, but after this whole piss/dick water incident, as they're like sort of escorting him to his new office, which we never get to see. I was kind of hoping we'd get to like a closet or something at the end of the
Yeah,
scene.
it's this tiny room.
But he's blank faced, like it's like he's a broken man. Like he is broken by this.
Yeah, I mean, Emmett's broken in this one. Cy's broken in this one. Ray's kind of broken at the end.
Oh yeah, Rhea's broken, and
Yeah.
what I think's funny though, despite obviously we'll get to the physical breaking of someone later, I feel like Nikki might actually come out being the one who's like, I'm not broken, I'm going to destroy
No,
everything.
I agree, because she's definitely the most mentally capable still.
But another point I want to bring, it came up later as well when VM was talking about Cy, but VM refers to his wife as a fat Jew, Cy's wife as a fat Jew. And I thought that was bringing in some of this East and West kind of stuff. It was making me think of the Cold War again. I just sort of adding to that theme in the overall kind of.
Yeah, and he speaks about how she's fat, so she can't be trusted because she'll inherently just choose food. It's like the idea of decadence, where they'll just choose their lifestyle over an individual.
Yeah, yeah, and just the sense of greed. Like she clearly has no self-control.
Yeah.
So very well done scene. For first, it wasn't the best scene of the episode, but it was like right away. It was like, all right, we're opening with some good stuff, and it was setting the stage for the rest of the episode. Some of the music in this one was really good, actually.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot
Especially
of good stuff.
when the one that stood out to me, maybe it's just because it was at the end, but and that's what I remember the best. But when Ray comes home at the end, the music that was playing as he was like sort of looking for Nikki in the house, I thought was very, very good.
Yeah, I thought there was some great pieces with Emmett earlier on as well.
Yeah, there was when the IRS guy shows up to talk to Emmett. There's this low, very bassy brass.
Yeah.
Was it a tuba? Maybe even deeper than that. I don't know.
Might have been a tuba. Yeah. It's hard to tell when it's quite low in the mix.
Wow. But it was like this pulsating, but it was very slow. It was like there was a boom, and then it would go like 10 seconds, and then boom. It was very, very slow. It was like suspenseful, but it was showing you how much each second was lasting for Emmett and the music by spacing it out that much.
And it made a really bold choice by not speeding up, because I think that would have been the easy thing to do, speed up and make it feel like it's getting tenser. But it never did, which kind of made it, in a way, more effective, because it was just, no, doesn't matter how much you want this to go faster, this is it.
I think that was also adding to I feel like the music. Maybe it was before, and I'm just noticing it more now after the last episode. But it was comparing everything to the Peter and the Wolf stuff. But I feel like they're kind of keeping that kind of, you know, it feels very operatic the way the music's
Oh,
playing
definitely,
with
yeah.
the scenes. It feels less movie score and more like you can
Yeah,
almost see them on a
it's like a
stage.
ballet. Yeah.
Yeah, you can almost see them on the stage, and you can hear the music like directing them around. It's uh,
Absolutely.
really smart stuff how they've done it. But uh, so let's talk about the IRS stuff. Well, the IRS guy comes out, and this all again it leads back to last week when Ray took the money out of the bank, the 10,000 instead of the 9,999, as the IRS man nicely points out. And he's been very casual. He's making jokes. He's like, "Oh, this is just a check because you took out this amount of money. It's completely procedure. You know, just by the numbers. I'll sit in an office wherever you want to put me up for a day or two, and I'll look through the books, and that'll be it." But obviously, the opening shot of this, well, not the opening shot of the scene, but the opening shot, once they sit down, you can see across to the other office, because it's all glass windows,
Yeah.
and you can see now VM's office, but it was Sai's office, which makes sense because they're the two heads of the company, so he's like, it's like almost like a twin set of offices kind of on
Yeah,
either side
yeah.
of the floor. But you can see VM just staring like out of focus in the middle. He's between the two of them in the frame.
Yeah, just
from
watching.
yeah, and obviously eventually it cuts to him and he's like picking his teeth with. I mean, obviously his fake teeth are ridiculous in of himself, but the fact that he's picking at them with this metal pick thing, like it's not a toothpick, it's like a, I don't know,
Just a hook.
yeah, it's like a prong to do something.
Yeah.
I'm almost convinced that his teeth are like that because of the objects he uses to pick them with, not because of the food he's eating.
It may well be.
But no, so very effective scene. But obviously, Emmett throughout the whole thing is nervous. He's trying to like play it smart, and he kind of gets better as the scene goes on. Like towards the end of the scene, he kind of goes into charm mode and says, "Oh, I know where just to put you." And he goes
Yeah,
into
he's definitely better than Sai was.
it's like he's developing into it because obviously last week it was kind of implying that he was going to start maybe going along with this VM thing, that he maybe would be tempted by the riches and everything, and this week it certainly seems like VM is trying to seduce him over to the dark side more by trying to like make Sai look like he's against him and
Yeah,
that
I
kind of
think for
thing.
him as well, the idea that he's lost his family, it's like, well, he hasn't got anything left to lose, so he might as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, but what I loved about the end of the scene though is he sees him off, the IRS guy, to the elevator, right? Yeah, it's 7:30 tomorrow, and he turns around and VM's just stand, and I knew he was going to be there. You could sort of
Yeah.
tell he was just going to be waiting, and but I wouldn't say surprised me, but what I wasn't expecting was the opening. The first thing he said wasn't like accusatory. It wasn't. It was problem solving. Was he married? Did he have any children? And you know where his mind is.
Yeah, he's like, what can I use to get at him?
Who can I threaten to make sure he just cooperates?
Stops, yeah.
Cooperates with anything we want him to do. Put in the report that we want. And I think this is maybe something we might notice in Emmett later on if he does go further down this the deep end, as it were. I wonder if like maybe later on in the season he will notice some of these details himself without being prompted.
Yeah, he'll start looking for them.
Yeah, he'll start thinking the way VM does. He'll be corrupted by him. So I don't know. It's just a thought, just a guess. But so Sai goes to see Emmett, and they have a bit of a fight. This is earlier on in the episode before this, and he says, "Yeah, deal with my brother." Obviously he's pissed. He knows it's not him. He knows it's his brother in a wig because he would remember doing it for a start. Also, it's
Yeah.
a stupid looking wig that
Yeah, he's very aware.
Yeah. He's like, no, shackles off, you go deal with this. And I think for me, this scene showed kind of like Sai's just went through this traumatic incident, but he almost puts it all aside to fix stuff for Ray, or for Emmett, rather.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's just that he wants to help Emmett. I think it's more that it gives him something to do. He gives him a purpose, something to focus on.
Yeah, it's like after this this emasculating incident with the piss or dick water, either way, right?
We'll refer to the mug incident.
The mug incident, yes. Like after this incident, he is so like he feels so belittled, so small, all these things, and I feel like the idea that this is something he can actually handle. This is something where
Yeah, it's an opportunity for him to lord over someone else.
and he can feel like the big guy. He can feel like he's the one making the demands. He's the wolf, as it were. And don't think we didn't notice that the episode ended in the credits with the wolf mask. Yeah, that was very notable. Um, so he calls Nikki, and Nikki and Ray are shopping for a tux and stuff.
Yeah, for the wedding, I assume.
I wasn't sure it was because she looks at the wedding dress, and I was thinking, oh, maybe that's further down the line, and maybe the tux is for because they're talking about meeting new people and sponsors.
It's true.
So I was thinking it was for something because he was the only one getting anything. Not that couples always go and get the tux and the wedding dress at the same time, admittedly, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was
I just assumed,
yeah.
maybe she didn't like the wedding dresses there, but tux is a tux, isn't it? Once you get to a point.
Aye, aye. I mean, you can also shop in like a blue tux as well. But yeah, I agree. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Typically, when you say tux, you think a black tux with a white shirt. I mean,
That's the beauty of a tux, and how lucky us men have it. We don't have to think. You just go, yeah, sure, just give us a tux. Problem solved.
yeah, yeah. It's just me. I've never actually worn a tux. I've always went with a suit up until this point.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it does the same sort of job.
I've,
Don't have
I've
to really think about it, do you?
I've never felt the requirement. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever bother wearing a tux unless someone, whatever reason I'll be wearing a suit or a tux. If the person who's being celebrated says I want tuxes, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll wear a tux. But I've never.
No, that's fair enough.
Just get in a bit of suit. It's business celebration, same thing. Just put on a fancier
Yeah,
tie.
just change out a different tie.
Yeah, just a better
Have a
tie.
nice colourful tie,
Yeah.
or just a somber tie. A
Yeah,
serious neat.
that's what you do. Why are we tangent into this?
No idea.
So there, Sai calls Nikki, and she's like, obviously there's a great little moment where she finds out that the wife already saw it, and it's like, oh crap, the entire plan just shut the window. But of course, the wife believes it, so she's like, well, now it's going to cost 200 grand if you want us to tell her that it's fake.
Yeah.
And Sai makes a bit of a power play, and he's like, come meet me at this lot that, Stussy Lots owns at whatever time. And I thought there was a weird bit of foreshadowing. I say weird, it wasn't really weird, but there was a bit of foreshadowing here when, Ray offers to come with. And she says, no, it's fine, because she says it's girl stuff, is the way she phrases. She's like, oh, do you want me to come with you? No, it's fine, that's sweet. And I'm like, I feel like she's going to regret that. There was just this feeling in the pit of my stomach, because not that I necessarily expected for Sai to go, like, evil or anything, but it was just the scene with, shackles off. It was like, what is he going to do?
He's over the limit of. We saw what he did with the car, and that was with the shackles on.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, what would he have done had, obviously we'll get to the actual scene and what happened, but had other people not shown up, like, where was he willing to go? Like, what was he willing to do? Or maybe it was just threats, maybe he was going to threaten something else, like put her back in prison.
Honestly, I think he'll have remembered the morning with the mug and then pussied out and just given her the money.
Possible. Well, yeah, that's a good point.
But then VM would have killed him, because that's way more trouble for the Bucks.
Yeah, he does try to pay her off at first, actually. Pays her off less. He tries to offer her 50.
Yeah.
40 plus the 10 they already stole, making 50. Yeah. But it makes you wonder, like, the idea of his temper and wanting to feel like he's the most powerful person in the room when he's really not. He's this mild-mannered guy from Minnesota who has a very friendly accent, and he wants to appear like he's the boss, like he's the big man, and he's struggling with it. But so that sets up that we'll save the final scene for last. I think we'll go with where Ray goes for the episode. Yeah. So we see a little bit of Gloria, and Winnie was the other police officer that we met last week, and they try and explain to our colleague about this whole Stussy mistake, brother v's brother, all that kind of thing. They go pick up Ray, bring him back to the station, and they question him. Mostly the actual interrogation scene for me was just about watching Ewan McGregor like do this like Minnesota nice guy, like trying to work his way. This is a family matter. My philosophy, like
he's very good at it, isn't he?
You're in a police station. Your philosophy means shit. Was basically my initial thought, but
yeah. Well, there's the thing. Technically, he was the one who was the victim of what they're questioning about with the car. So if he doesn't press charges, be like, no, it's a family matter. There's not much they can do about that. It's the other waitress that can cause trouble.
Well, that was the kind of thing though. Was that's kind of what Not Steve Zahn. I always mistake him for Steve Zahn. Shea Wiggum's character, the chief. Him and Steve Zahn. Do you know what it's like? It's like Steve Zahn's the comedy version of Shea Wiggum. He's got, he's like him, but he's slightly goofier. And I sometimes I swap them in my head.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
Whereas Shea Wiggum is the serious actor who's very stern and commands a room. But he pulls him out of the interrogation room. He's like, "No, what is this bullshit? What are you doing in there? Why are you talking to this guy?" And they explain their whole what they're doing kind of thing. And what I loved about this scene, he tells this story about when he hears about this Stussy, or he already heard about it from the other guy, but he's because he knows about it, he tells the story about the girl in England with the balloon and her name's on it, and it flies for 40, 50 miles, whatever he said, and it lands on another girl. And guess what her name was? It was the same name. What I loved about this scene is when he starts telling this story, it goes to, maybe even as soon as they walk out the interrogation room, it's in this wide shot, right, where he's on the left, two female officers are on the right, and he's telling this story. And I thought, oh, maybe this scene's going to be a winner. It's just going to be all this one shot. And it wasn't. It did eventually cut to other shots, to close-ups. But it was just such a simple direction and editing trick here that I thought was very effective. Is the moment it cuts to a shot, it cuts to a sort of close-up of the ladies, specifically Gloria. It's right when he says, "And guess what her name was?" Where he's just getting to his point. It's like, it's all wide as he's telling this almost asinine story that no one cares about. But then he's like, "And guess what her name was?" And it's like when it's just at the moment that Gloria realizes what his point's going to be, it goes to
when
a
it gets to the
her.
point, it focuses in.
Yeah, it was just really simple and subtle. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But no, so he's like, "No, drop it." And that's basically we get out of her stuff for the episode.
Yeah. Again, it was very reminiscent of the chief in season 1, who just doesn't want to know. It's like, nah, I've got my story. We're just gonna go with this. It's easier. And this is a kind of the same thing. We're just like, I don't care. It's I've got a way to do answers, and we can't prove this. It's just effort. Let's not bother.
Yeah, but obviously she's the noble lawmaker who.
Yep, because that's Fargo.
Yeah. That is Fargo. In terms of obviously there was no technology stuff with Gloria specifically. The one moment I did sort of, obviously there's the fact that VM's monitoring everything, it seems, but and that's kind of implied in the episode but never seen. So there's the moment where Ray and Emmet are on the phone together. He's on the bus, which by the way, I like the subtle touch that he's on a bus because his car got thingied last week. just a simple little thing. And he gets all shouty and sweary on the phone, and they're arguing over the phone. He basically has this shouting match on the bus, and everyone's staring at him. He's like, "Oh, it's my mum," which by the way is a really funny line after all that swearing that it was my mum.
Yeah.
But he sits down, and the guy behind him's got his phone up, and I thought, was he filming that? It was the way he was sitting there with his phone flipped open. It just felt like it.
It was the same as, I think it was when Cy phoned Emmet earlier on, and he was like, after the mug scene, like, we're in too deep, and it was being very cagey, like, because on the phone, but you can almost hear that VM's listening in on this.
Well, that was the thing with this kid maybe filming his outbursts. I don't actually necessarily think he was, or it'll come up again. It's just more that the show's made me ultra aware of like technology and in this world where it's being manipulated and used to for the purpose of evil, and it was just, I was so aware of it that I noticed this kid with his phone out, even though it's probably not going to be a thing.
Yeah, probably not.
So no, we skipped over one scene. Cy goes to see a potential buyer for the company, which is maybe his weird loophole to try to get out of all this, that he gives the company to someone else.
He wants out. Sell it to someone else. Your problem now.
Who's played by Mary McDonnell from Battlestar Galactica. For anyone who's a fan of that show, it was nice seeing her. She was also she was the first lady in Independence Day, funnily enough. Which I know was a really more obscure kind of it was a long time ago.
I wouldn't recognise it from that.
It was just one of those because I'm sure I seen Independence Day again before the new one came out, and I was like, oh, it's her, and I hadn't seen it in so long. And interestingly, their daughter in that first movie is Mae Whitman, known for Arrested Development and a bunch of more other recent stuff. But no, so cool bit of casting there. So let's talk about the sort of the final 10 minutes then, because this is the kind of where everything ramped up. It's where everything kind of came together. So Cy and Nikki meet, and we know Cy's been followed. We see the car following him.
Yeah, it's very clear
earlier on, and they go to this lot. They both get out of the car. He makes his offer about the money. She's like, no, 200 grand. Blah 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 blah. They're just kind of going in circles almost at this point. Just setting up this meeting. Car pulls in, and Nicky's like, "What's this?" And Sai knows who it is. Like he immediately just gets that. Oh, it's these goons. Whose names I probably shouldn't know.
Yuri,
Russian,
I believe is.
yeah, Yuri's the Russian guy, and then the Asian guy is Mimo. I should really remember that name. That's a cool name.
It is. I don't feel
Mimo.
like it's been said very often because I
It's
don't
not,
remember
it's
it
not.
at all, even when you say it.
No, I think of him as an Asian guy with headphones because he's always listening to music.
Yeah, he's got the earphones in constantly.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I think of
He's
him.
basically going to be he's the prototype for Baby Driver.
Sure.
I'm just waiting for him to have a cool action scene now.
So they show up, and this was a really weird tense scene because they come up, and you see Yuri's got a whip in his hand, and you almost like don't notice that's what it is at first because it's all rolled up. It's sort of he's holding it tight, but you're looking at it going, oh, that's a goddamn whip, and he starts talking about this reminds him of Siberia. The difference being that all because he talks about how snow's white because it covers all the blood, and he talks about fighting the Nazis in World War II and how many people died in Siberia, and it's like that's the difference here. Like here you've got malls and all this. It's like, yeah, the snow's here. It looks the same on the surface, but underneath, like it's very different. And again, this is bringing in the East and West stuff. This is like super forefront, and this is someone who seems resentful of the West. The way he talks here, and the whole time I was just like, I feel like Nikki's in danger, and I don't know why she should be in danger, but it feels like she is. And it goes back to kind of like how VM, because VM was suggesting earlier on to Emmett, oh, I think Sai's working with your brother, he's probably coercing, this is, if the name's Stussy on the company, it doesn't have to be you, it could be him. Yeah. And it's like, so it has this line of thought went down to these two, because VM even says, oh, people are talking, people you don't want to be talking are talking about this.
Yeah.
And the whole time
I'm just planting the seeds, isn't he?
And she's holding her own. She's done Sai's almost pissing himself. He's standing there terrified.
Yeah, he's like, please don't. Just I've got this constantly. Is all he's saying.
Yeah, and again, that's him pretending that he's in command of the situation when he's really not.
Not at all.
And she tries to leave, and she gets grabbed. And this is where, again, very smart filmmaking. We don't see any of it. The camera just tracks in on Sai. As Sai, again, his face was doing wonders this episode for just in terms of like selling the scenes, because his face just looked horrified as the camera tracks into him, and to the point where everything finishes and we hear the guys get into the car, but we just hear these noises of kicks and whips and just general beating up noises.
Yeah,
I guess
it sounded rough.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll admit my opinion of Sai's went down a little bit. I was a little bit.
He doesn't go over to check. He just goes.
Because it feels like he's horrified by what's happening to her. But I was a little disappointed that he did just leave. Like he was such a pussy that he turned around.
He was too scared to see if she was alive or not.
Yeah, and obviously we've talked about how he thinks he's the toughest guy in the room, but he's really not. This for me kind of solidifies him as a coward who likes to pretend he's not.
Yeah.
Because this was downright cowardly that he didn't go over and check on her. As much as he doesn't like her, it's like she just got beat by two dudes, like
absolutely.
And after he leaves, we just big wide shot goes down to her and she's crawling around, and it was interesting because obviously she's crawling, she's clearly hurt, but there was no visible signs of where the hurt was. Like her face wasn't touched, like which again is maybe them being smart, like you don't harm the face because people can see that. And I was wondering actually if it was her legs specifically.
Yeah, the way she was dragging herself made it look like she'd maybe broken her leg or something.
Especially in the car. See, when she was like dragging herself into the seat, it reminded me a lot of someone who's in a wheelchair, like getting into a car.
Yeah.
And I see this as someone whose father was in a wheelchair, and I saw him get into a car. It was very reminiscent of that. And obviously there's a little bit of time stuff here, because obviously Ray's getting back from the police station, and we don't really know if this is around when she's still out in the cold, or if this is later. It obviously turns out to be later because he gets in and she's already there and she's lying in the bath. And
I just want to point out, she had to get up the stairs of that building. Man, we saw how much she struggled to get round that corner to the car. Like, 3 or 4 feet. How she got up those stairs, I have no idea.
Yeah, On it,
She is ridiculously strong.
Joe, the thing is, this is a show where I don't think there's any clear heroes. Like everyone's kind of shady in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe Emmett wasn't at first, but Emmett's kind of becoming shady. Ray, of course, is doing up till what him and Nikki are doing is very like
Yeah, I mean,
they're not doing nice things. They're blackmailing people. They're trying to cheat people.
we're introduced as her as she was a criminal.
Yeah, but it's hard not to, you have to feel sympathy. This is a horrific thing that's just happened. So it's doing this really smart thing. Even Sai, you feel sympathy for him for most of this episode. After that final scene, I'll struggle a little bit more. But you feel all this stuff for all these people. Because up until this point as well, I think Sai, other than being a bit of a shithead in terms of how he treats people, he's not necessarily evil. Like up until now, he's kind of
Yeah, he's wanting to kind of stay out of everything, just be normal.
he's relatively innocent in a criminal sense, in those kind of things.
Yeah, we saw the bit with the car where obviously he has a bit of a temper when it comes to Ray specifically.
Yeah.
But that seems as a very personal grudge rather than anything vindictive to the wider world.
He's a flawed character, but he was definitely less guilty of things than Ray and Nikki. But I feel like Ray and Nikki have just become the heroes of the show, which is a really weird thing to say.
It's completely switched it, hasn't it?
Because as much as, I mean, admittedly, yes, they accidentally got an innocent man killed. This is fair.
Yeah,
right?
But it's. I mean, he tried to kill his brother, but after that, and then they did.
Well,
squash
to be
his
fair,
head.
he didn't try to kill his brother. He just wanted him to steal the thing.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It
was.
Yeah.
He did that with the risk of knowing something could have gone wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't actually want to kill his brother. So
Yeah.
I don't want to blame him of attempted murder necessarily.
No, that's fair.
But I feel like they have almost become the most sympathetic, and like I said earlier on, I feel like everyone's broken. This, like, Ray's broken by the sight of this. Emmett's broken because his family's left him. Sai's broken for seeing this and for the mug incident. I was about to say piss again. Like, everyone's so broken, and that's why I think we end on the image of the wolf, because the wolf is struck in like so many ways in this episode, and I think Nikki is the one who is going to come out not feeling, even though physically she is broken. I feel like
she'll want to fight back.
She's the one who's going to come out with the plan. She's the one who's going to come out and say, right, we have to do something. And obviously this is going to make them hate Emmett, because they're going to feel like Emmett was responsible for this. They don't even know about VM. To them,
they have no idea.
Emmett sent these
was
goons.
People who came up with Sai.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, this was on them.
So I think that's very interesting. And I think, just to go back to the whole Peter and the Wolf thing, she was the cat, and cats land on their feet. They have 9 lives to talk about, just themes and stories and things we can apply to her. Like 9 lives.
No, definitely.
I think she's going to come back swinging. Maybe not next step. Maybe there'll be some recuperation. Like,
yeah, I imagine she'll have to lie down for an episode or so.
I got whipped and beat half to death. Yeah, let me lie down for a couple of hours. I'll come back. But I feel like once she does get back up on her feet, I feel like VM's not even going to know what's going to happen.
I agree.
To a weird extent.
It's going to be fascinating.
Ultimately, though, obviously, Gloria is the one that's going to take him down, because we spoke about this technology. We had a great comment last week about how Gloria will be the one who can ultimately take down VM, because she's invisible to him, because she doesn't use technology, she doesn't use Facebook, she doesn't use any of these things. She's like completely invisible to him, which he sees as wealthy. So she's ultimately going to be this thing that he can't see coming. And that's...
because we're seeing so much of his surveillance is all through technology. Yeah, Facebook, the computer crashing and phone tapping, whereas none of that is effective on her. Yeah.
So that was a really good. Although I have it in front of me, so I can't give a shout out to the commenter, but there was a really good comment that really adds up to everything else that's been going on and what we've been saying. So no, that's a solid point. But no, that was. I think. Would you agree that's probably the best episode of the season so far?
I would. I mean, the only one it's close is the Gloria one, because that was so good in a different way.
Okay.
That did something very different for this show. It just focused in, took it out of a location, did something completely fresh. So it felt very good for that. Whereas this was what I wanted from traditional, what I wanted from Fargo.
Yeah. This was a really, really strong one. This is a big turning point for the season, halfway through. So it feels like the stakes just got upped. It feels like there's because they talk about in the police interrogation, oh, is there a blood feud? And Gloria says, oh, I think there's a blood feud between the brothers. I don't think it was a blood feud. This episode made it a blood feud.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah. And I was just thinking about the East-West thing with the henchmen. I feel like each of them represents either side. Because obviously, Yuri is, the old ways. We get that whole Siberia speech.
Yeah.
But then the other one, he's very, technology, earphones, very laid back, relaxed, kind of enjoys himself almost. And then you have VM kind of in between them, controlling, and it's like he's the master above it all.
Yeah.
So he's the power behind East and West. Like he's there waiting. He's not on either side. He's just going to pounce on whichever one comes out for him. He'll still win.
But the perks of being invisible.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is this week's Fargo. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps us out. You can help us out a little bit more, of course, by going over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and see what some of the bonuses you can get over there. But otherwise, guys, get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen, but that's us. So thank you very much once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?